Hey there. Welcome to the Lifehacker Diet YouTube channel. My name is Paul, and I'm the Lifehacker Diet guru at lifehackerdiet.com. And today we are going to talk about how yoga can positively transform your body and your mind at any age. And I'm going to be interviewing a male and female yoga teacher. And there's going to be a little bit of he said, she said going on. So it should be interesting. Here we go.
Lifehackerdiet.com. This is your last diet.
Hi, my name is Maggie. I'm the owner of Green Tea Yoga. I'm a yoga instructor. I started practicing when I was 19 years old. I had moved to the New England area from the Midwest. And when I arrived here, the stimuli increased tremendously. So I had moved from a very quiet town to a very hectic, chaotic place. And I started realizing that I was more stressed out. I had more anxiety. I couldn't breathe like I could before. I couldn't slow down. And I was kind of losing who I was when I moved out here. So I walked into a class at the Y in Waltham, and I started practicing. And from then on, I just continued my practice. I had taught as an occupational therapist. I was working with a lot of children in schools and different centers, outpatient centers. And I started implementing a lot of yoga with these children who had problems with coordination, problems settling, problems focusing, or balance issues. And I noticed a tremendous effect with these kids. They grew, they became more outgoing, they talked a lot more. And so I decided to go back and get my training in Newburyport. And from that point on, I started teaching about 10 years ago. And ever since, I've been a yoga teacher.
Hi, my name is Jerry Urban. I'm a yoga teacher here at Green Tea Yoga, amongst other studios. I discovered my yoga in LA when I lived out there. I had been working out at the gym a little bit, and I noticed that every time I had an injury, I would kind of go towards the yoga classes. Like I tell everybody else, there were a lot of cute girls going into one specific room, and I couldn't figure out why, so I took a peek, and there they were doing yoga, and it looked like it was a little bit challenging and thought it might be kind of fun, and I then had a few friends that went to classes and went and told me that I should give it a try. And so I did, and I liked it a lot. And I never really, I was going back and forth between yoga and working out. And I think upon moving to Boston, I just found that it became more of a place that I like to come into. It would kind of ground me. There were moments where I was going through an ungrounding period, and so it felt like that was something that I was drawn to, and it felt like it calmed me and gave me a little bit of centering. And so from that point on, I went to Kripalu to do my first 200 hours, and I think I jumped right into Shiva Ray training right after that, in which I'm still evolving in that training. Yeah, that's kind of how I got into what I did with that. You know, I didn't have any background in like Maggie had for occupational therapy. It was more about what was good for me and what I needed at the time. And when I started yoga, I couldn't even touch my toes. You know, and so it was a practice over time. And I think I started somewhere in my 30s. I'm thinking like 33 when I first started doing yoga. And so it's been a long process. I'm 50 now, and I can still touch my toes, which is an amazing thing. But
So, Maggie, why should a woman consider doing yoga, and what are the benefits for her?
Well, I think women today, they're constantly multitasking. They're feeling very stressed. They have a full-time job, a lot of children, responsibilities at home with their families. Women are overwhelmed today, and they're feeling the stress. So they get into yoga. One great thing is just decreasing stress. It's giving them time to be alone, to turn inward, to shut off the mind. Another important part of it is it helps sleep. A lot of women, especially as we age, we get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and we have a difficult time going back to bed. So you notice through a regular practice, you sleep much better, and you find that. And of course, women, we're always worried about bodies and how we look and the expectation, especially for women as you age.
Mhm.
Guys, you got it a lot easier. As you age, the expectations of staying beautiful and thin and toned and all these things, women feel that. So they come to yoga and we don't like to just work out. We don't like to go to the gym and sit there on a treadmill. It's kind of an art, so you can move your body in all sorts of different positions. And it's challenging, but it's graceful, and it's in a flowing way, putting these pieces together with your body and really connecting with your body. So I think, just overall helping with decreasing stress, your body, your health, and sleeping at night.
So, Jerry, why would a man be interested or benefit from yoga?
Most men come to it because they either haven't had tightness in hamstrings or shoulders. They haven't been able to touch their toes, much less see their toes sometimes. And so for them, it's more about the physical issues and the longevity of what we come into. Because sometimes you wake up and you just don't want to get out of bed. Your back hurts, your shoulder hurts. There's a lot of physical laborers out there that that yoga would benefit because we don't often take the time or structure our days around a release. Everything is go, go, go. We've got to get this done. We got to do this. Time to get home, put the kids to bed. And by the time the day is ending, you're about ready to go to bed, and then you wake up again and start all over. And sometimes you just need to shut the other stuff out, focus on self for a while. We don't often do that to come into ourselves and really, really process the getting rid of stuff. And so when you connect to the mat and you place your hands and feet on the ground, it's a great place to just kind of connect. And when you start to breathe and get that breath flowing in the head, sometimes the ideas just kind of drip out slowly. They're still there, circulating, but they'll drip out slowly. And so that at some point, it becomes just you and the practice and nothing else around you. We often come in with a lot of stuff. And after you're done with the practice, it feels like you might be a little bit lighter, a little bit less weighted down. And over time, with the consistency of the practice, it allows you to actually, on a physical level, get into a deeper, more gracious aspect between you and your muscles, because we don't often give ourselves much praise or thanks. We're always hard on ourselves. And this is a place where you can really appreciate what you have or don't have and work towards a place that you can appreciate.
So, I think you've both touched on this, but what are 3 clear benefits that both men and women will get from starting yoga?
For women, one of the things is definitely strength, physically and mentally and emotionally. Being able to have the confidence and the strength to get through the day. We're always bombarded with challenges, things we can't control. And being able to find within a place of balance, of calmness, strength. I think probably that's one of the most important things. And then also is just, being able with your body, just being able to keep your body mobile as we age through life, being able to be flexible and find the movement. And again, preventing any injuries and just knowing where your body is in space. So sometimes we're just moving throughout life and we're not really present with our body. That connection's not there. So finding that body connection. And again, just reiterating sleep at night. I think yoga really helps you sleep well. So it gives you that balanced sleep throughout the night. So when you get up in the morning, you're nice and refreshed and ready to go the next day.
And Jerry, for men?
First aspect is the quality of both strength and stretch. When people look into a room, a yoga room, and they think that looks like it's a little bit difficult stretch-wise, because for men, we're more focused on the building aspect than the releasing or stretching out the muscle afterwards. We always go in for the pump and not for the release. And in yoga, when you're practicing, you're actually creating retention in the muscle so that you're strengthening at the same time. And when you start to strengthen, maybe drawing like drawing feet together or towards one another in a warrior pose, you're creating resistance, and that resistance, in essence, is releasing another muscle so that you can settle into the pose a little bit more. And it's not just about stretching, but it's about creating that. And that strengthening within the yoga practice isn't about, the way that we look, but it's a way to kind of release the energy in our head. We're not, when we're refining the muscles, strengthening and stretching, we're into a place where we're not comparative so much anymore. And so you're not trying to compete necessarily, and it's more that's when you start to draw into yourself, and the focus becomes more about being on the mat and what you're doing for yourself. And the focus again draws into the aspect of coming into oneself rather than trying to please everybody else. Because if you're unhappy and you're trying to please all these people, you're probably pushing more than you are drawing in. And so when you start to realize that you don't have to have all this outward energy going out all the time, but if you focus on yourself and you focus on cleaning out the crap inside your life, it's kind of like, cleaning the closet out. Every once in a while we have to do that. And so your focus, when your mind is uncluttered, becomes a little bit more clear. You can see a little bit broader than that narrow vision. And sometimes that lends itself to you, maybe reaching out into a more expansive quality in things that you can absorb in life. If you're like this, there's a lot of stuff on the outside that you're not going to see. And so when we start to release the clutter and open up that vision, there's a lot more that we're going to take in this life, because it's not just about what's in front of us all the time. And that's a really important quality in what I think yoga can give us. Did I go through 3 there? I hope I did.
I think you got it. All right, Maggie, let's look at stages of life, from being a kid to being 20, 30 something, middle age, and then beyond. How can yoga help in each of those stages?
So I'm starting with children, especially young girls. I teach a lot of kids classes, and you see more and more pressure on these young children, especially girls, boys too. But already, 7, 8-year-old children, the pressure of looking a certain way, wearing certain types of clothes, the name brands, wearing your hair a certain way. Then you have children picking on each other, making fun of one another. They come in here very stressed already at a young age. So when I'm working with them, we start a lot with breath. We do a lot of breath work. We talk a lot about the yamas and niyamas of yoga. We talk about ahimsa, nonviolence, self-esteem, working through things, how to be better friends, how to come from the heart center space instead of judging. So from the very beginning, if you can start young, that's the best place to start. I mean, it's great to start anytime you can, but they're open, they're intuitive, they're ready to take it in. So children nowadays, they really need yoga. It's very stressful with all the homework, the sports that they're involved in. They're, just being judged all the time by other children. And I think the breath work, the body movement, and the self-esteem piece of the yoga practice for children is really important. And then moving on to teens, for adults, especially for adults. As you get older, you realize, oh my gosh, what did I do in life? Where am I now? Maybe the kids are finally out of the house. Maybe you're at a place you don't want to be at anymore. So you start to find a practice and you start to realize, this isn't my truth. This isn't where I want to be at this moment. So you start practicing, you gain confidence, you gain strength, you become more aware. I think that's a huge step in the middle-aged adult population, is awareness. And then you realize, oh, I need to make some changes in my life. I'm working too hard. I'm not balancing my life. I'm not eating well. I'm not resting well. I'm not exercising. And you start practicing yoga, even if it's for the asana or the poses or the physical part, you start to see a transformation within. You see that you're more flexible, that you can sleep at night, that you have more energy, that you can tolerate things better. You feel that you're more connected to people, and you feel more bonded with the world, whereas before you were just rushing through it. So I think it's important in that age because there's a lot of change happening in that period. And then as you get even older and everyone's out of the house, you may or may not be with your partner still, you start to dive deeper within, finding that spirituality. So you really find a connection within. It's a part of your life that you realize everything's passed by, and I realize my life is temporary and things are always changing. So you get into the practice. I find a lot of older women come to my classes to just meditate or relax. They come to just be present, and they love the community. They want to be around other people. They've let go of all the expectations. They've let go of the physical. They've let go of the judgment, and now they're really in tune with who they are and what they want in life. And yoga just continues to help them evolve physically as well, because they're more flexible, they're more mobile, they don't feel like they're going to fall, their spine is more malleable and mobile as well. So they just feel much better. And they tell me that all the time. I have an injury, but it's feeling better as I practice, or I'm able to sleep better, or I'm able to move better. I've been playing this game with my friend, whatever it is, they notice changes in their body, their emotions, their mental state, and everything.
I think she said it all. With regards, I know, right? With regards to kids, this huge energy, and for just that little bit of moment, if you have them in class and they're able to sit down and find a moment where they can close their eyes and feel just the stillness. They may not realize what's going on, but for them it's fun because they don't often stop. They're always go, 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 explore, explore, explore. And so that it's really great to get them in touch with that. And it may not be anything that they'll get in touch with for a while. It may be that they'll come into it in their teens or in their 20s or maybe later in life like me, and that the realization comes in. But over time it does. With regard to teens, they're going through a lot of hormonal changes and learning to adapt breath in the physical body can sometimes help alter what's going on inside the body or help us adapt to that physical change so that it doesn't become such a dramatic place to be, and especially the hormones make us just go out in different directions. And when you're emptying and clearing the mind, becoming a little bit more focused, that the anxieties and the things or the distractions aren't as prominent, I don't think. And, like as a young adult or an older adult, again, the physical aspect, if we're starting it in our 30s and 40s, we're going, damn, I wish I had started this way, way earlier. But for the fact is, it's like you can't always look in the past. You just work yourself forward and go, okay, I'm going to stick with this and see what happens. A lot of times people get overwhelmed by the fact that it's really hard. They think, oh, that looks pretty easy, until they actually get in there and they go, that's really hard. And then it becomes a mind thing. Am I going to stick with it or not? And more often than not, it becomes, it's that type of thing where it's like, I can't do this, and sometimes you can't do it right then. And maybe you'll come back to it later. Or if you stick it out, just like anything in life, and you put a little focus into it or a little bit of effort, not the effort and willfulness, but the effort to really realize that there is the potential in unweighting yourself, that it could ultimately leave you in a more elated space, a grounded space, a freer for the physical body, and a nice place where you can settle in. If you can sit for a moment, because we feel like we always have to go, for a moment and not take in anything or not leave anything behind, but just kind of sit with the stuff that you have and say it's okay to be here. And each day, you sit with that presence a little bit longer. And soon we're old, we're seniors, and we're walking around all hunched over, or we're actually rolling the shoulders back and standing up, and we have our vision forward. But sometimes it's like the focus doesn't come, and I'm going, oh, I wish I had done that. There is the time. You can do it anytime.
What should people be looking for in a yoga teacher?
All right. So I think when you're looking for a teacher, definitely look at the training. That's a big part of it. But you have to look and see if they're personable, if there's somebody you can relate to, somebody who's not up there just showing off, somebody who's going to walk around and adjust you, talk to you, ask you if you need anything, someone you feel comfortable enough with to raise your hand and say, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Can you come over and please help me? And that person is more than welcome to come over and help you and adjust you, giving you props. I think also a teacher saying to you, please be aware of your own body. You're the best teacher for yourself. If you have any injuries, medical conditions, let me know. Tell me about them so I can help you through the process.
Yeah, I like to go to different teachers because each one has something different to say. An aspect of reflection, maybe a motivational thing. And so it's about exploring, and through life we tend to explore anyway. But you're going to hear a voice that you like and probably a voice that you don't like. I have another teacher that says sometimes she goes to classes of teachers that she doesn't like because it's not about them, it's about you, right? And so you have to experience the things that aren't necessarily comfortable and know that those things are going to happen every day, and maybe sit in it and see if you can change the aspect to where it's not something. But I really, really, for me, is to hear what the teacher has to offer. I mean, you're going to get a lot of the same instructions with regard to the physical movements, not necessarily the same, but roughly. But it's what you're going to pull out of it. And it might be a snippet, something that they say and go, God, you know what? If I could do that every day, uh, just one thing. And so for me, the focus on is the teacher is what they have to offer, or somebody who kicks my ass.
On that note, sometimes I avoid the teachers when I need to be there. That's the place I need to be the most, but I have an aversion to it, and I need to go in and be there and stay with it the whole entire time. Sometimes I'll avoid teachers who are really, really, really slow, but that's where I need to be.
Yeah,
So it's nice to be open to everything.
exactly. That's probably why she doesn't come to my class all the
No,
time.
you're awesome. I'm always there.
What should people look for in yoga studios?
You want to start?
I think if you walk into a place and it feels warm and inviting, I tend to like a warmer studio than a colder studio, but not always hot. For me, it's like I love hot in the wintertime, hate it in the summertime. If the people are nice, when you walk in and they're inviting you in, you're like, okay, yeah, I'll come in and try it out. But I think it's just a feeling. Again, search it out and see. But knowing that there's a whole slew of teachers, you want to be willing to put money out and know that those teachers are going to support you in your practice. And that's a really big thing, because when you're buying class cards and month longs, you want to make sure that there's enough classes to support that.
I do agree with Jerry on variety. I think variety is very important to come in and say, oh, I'd like to try a restorative class. Maybe I'd like to try a yin class. Maybe I'm going to power it up today with this power hour class. Something that gives a variety so you can buy a class card and try them all. I also think you need to go by your intuition, where you feel comfortable, where you can be yourself and feel like you can come in and wear anything you want, not worry about wearing the Lululemon and all of those brand name clothing, where you can come in and just be yourself entirely. And also for me, a big part of it is like the way it looks. I know that sounds a little superficial, but just the colors and the warmth that you were talking about. Sometimes you can go into a studio and it feels very sterile.
Right.
And you know, the mirrors everywhere when I'm not the big mirror fan. So it's nice to have a studio where you're just turning inward and you feel comfortable there, where you can just take your shoes off and relax and be yourself 100%.
Yeah.
Great. So a lot of activities and exercises we do require a lot of gear. How much gear do you need for yoga?
Nothing.
It's just a
You,
mat that
your body.
a mat you're comfortable with.
Yeah, that's it.
I've been through, I can't even tell you how many different mats until I found the one that I like. I'll plug Jade because I really like them, but they have a fat mat that I started with because my knees hurt, and it was hard for me to be in poses like Ustrasan or camel pose. And then after a while, I started to get more adaptive in my practice, and it felt better to be on a thinner mat. So then I went to a thinner mat. So find the one that works for you, because they're going to be different. Most studios will have blocks. Some will have bolsters and blankets and straps. So I'd say most studios will have what you need. Not everybody carries bolsters, because that's a little bit more of a specialty. If they do more restorative practices, then they probably will have them. So.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, really, you need a mat, maybe, if that, a blanket,
And
if you want to
fashionable
start
yoga.
with. Yeah, comfortable clothing for sure. Water. Sometimes I just tell people to bring different layers of clothing. They can get chilly. Some people want to warm it up, so they put on extra layers. Otherwise, it's very simple. You really don't need much at all.
Yeah, water's probably important too.
Water.
Yeah.
That was great, guys. Thank you so much for being on the Life Hacker Diet podcast and YouTube channel. It's been great chatting to you both.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Most diets are like going on a trip. The food is different, your activities are different, and then it ends. You fall back into your old ways, and the diet fails. LifeHackerDiet.com is different because you make small changes to your lifestyle that get results. When you hit your goal, your lifestyle has been reinvented by you, and change is permanent. LifeHackerDiet.com. This is your last diet.